What's up, SEC Mike?
Hey, doing great, David. And man, you're looking sharp. Did you just get a haircut?
I did. It's I'm sure somebody will make fun of me here shortly, but yes, I did. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm not cutting my hair till Billy Napier gets dismissed from Florida. This is my hair is just in protest of why Florida hasn't made a move yet.
Yeah, it's do you believe the reports out that it'll probably be this weekend?
No, because I mean, not that I don't have an inside to Scott Strickland or anything, but I believe Florida hates Georgia so bad that I think they'll give them an opportunity to knock off Georgia. And I really don't think it's that crazy to believe that Florida can beat Georgia. I mean, heck, Florida went toe-to-toe with A&M, at A&M for a little while, you know what I mean? So I think Florida's a little bit better than we suspect. I think Georgia, maybe not as good as we suspect. So I think they give them at least the Georgia game.
Well, Mike, I add that to my list.
I don't think your mic is on, buddy.
Mike, I'll add that to my list of things we agree on. We both think Georgia is not as good as, I think they're very beatable. Let's put it that way. They should have lost to Auburn. They should have been down 17-0 anyway. I don't think they would have come back from that. I'm not that impressed with them. I do think they could win a bunch of close games, just depending where they're at and the time of the year. And we'll talk about them in Ole Miss this weekend, but I just haven't been impressed. It took a miracle to beat Tennessee, who went to overtime against Mississippi State. They lost at home to Bama. I want to get into Bama with you here in a minute, and that's it. As I sit here, I agree with you, though, about Florida. Like, you fire Napier, you've completely given up any hope whatsoever that you have to beat Georgia. You're not going to go do that with an interim coach right off the bat. But I don't know what the first question was that my new co-host, American History X, over here asked you. But we can just dive right into the rest of the SEC. I guess start with A&M. Oh, hey, Dave.
You're so predictable.
You thought that's where I was going to go with it?
I knew it was going to be something like, I thought it was going to be more military, but that's probably too easy for you.
Yeah.
I think he looks sharp.
It does. It looks good.
Thank you.
I'd be honest. It might be. I prefer.
I've had this haircut on the show before, by the way.
I prefer more when you look like Desi Arnaz or Lou Diamond Phillips. But this is a good cut. It's a good look. I don't think you've ever had it this short on
No,
here.
at the top, one more level shorter.
No, I'm being all kidding aside. I think it looks really good.
Thank you, sir. I was actually going to ask SEC Mike,
sir.
if I can. Thank you. I appreciate you. Usted form in Spanish. Mike, I think last week A&M was 7th on your power rankings, or I forget how you phrase it. I think it's power rankings. Now they're 2. What has kind of changed your mind about Texas A&M heading into this game against Arkansas?
Well, and keep in mind, every week you guys ask me, I say the same thing. These are very fluid, so teams are able to jump up and down. But I think it's the consistency. I think it's the balance. A&M's getting a lot better on defense. They're consistently scoring a lot in conference play on the offensive side of the football. I think, just for example, like I keep getting people asking me, at what point is LSU's offense going to turn it around? Is this the week? How about Tennessee's defense? Is this the week where they start showing, some improvement on the defensive side of the football? Heck, we're halfway through the seasons, guys. I think you kind of are who you are at this point in time. And now that doesn't mean you can't get a little bit better here or there, but to believe LSU's just going to flip a switch on offense and Tennessee on defense, I don't think it's going to happen. So we have to go off what we're seeing. And what I'm seeing when I see the Aggies play is, again, a defense that, maybe they give up a big play or a drive or two right out the gate, and then they completely clamp down. And they have an offense that, can go right down the field in 2 plays and score a touchdown on you. You know what I mean? So I really like that A&M is consistent on both sides of the football. They can beat you running. They can beat you passing. And the defense is just getting better and better. Now, I think it's going to be a lot harder to do that, to look that consistent going on the road for the next 3 games. And I've been getting into fights with Aggies all week because I guaranteed that they don't go undefeated in this 3-game stretch. I'm not saying they're going to lose them all, but I think that's I think that's a big ask to go on the road 3 games in a row and win them all.
Yeah, I do too, especially when 2 really explosive offenses, I think. Maybe Missouri hasn't been, I don't know if I'd call them explosive watching them against South Carolina and Alabama, but difficult to defend. A lot of playmakers at Arkansas and Missouri. And then LSU, A&M just doesn't and hasn't won in Baton Rouge. So I wouldn't say I would guarantee it. I don't think it's impossible for them to go undefeated, because here's what I do think. I do think that Texas A&M is a better team than the 3 teams they're going to play. Like you said, based on what we've seen through 6 games, which is a whole half of a season, I think Texas A&M is better than all 3 of those teams. With that said, it's not by a lot. Mm-hmm. And so when you take 3 games on the road over teams that you're better than, but not by a lot, and I do think they're a lot better than Arkansas in terms of like their record and what they've shown. But Arkansas has shown against Ole Miss, against Tennessee, that they're dangerous. Now, they do have a common opponent in Notre Dame, but I think that was when Pittman and that crew, that was just the end of the road week for them. No, I agree with you that I would say it's not likely they run through these 3 undefeated. I would certainly say it's possible, but it's hard. A&M's going to have to go on the road, and if they won 2 out of 3, I think this team, I think they're going to, if they win 2 out of 3, I think they beat South Carolina at home and they're locked into the playoff before they end the season with Samford in Texas. So I know I want to see them go out and win every week, but I'm just saying 2 out of 3 is fine with me. And I'd love to see them go undefeated. It rhymes, I know. 2 out of 3, fine with me. I mean, that's it. If they can that means you're either splitting with Missouri and LSU, or you're stumbling this weekend and beating 2 ranked teams on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, it's the goal is 10. You'd like for more, but you're trying to get to 10 right there. So I'm with you. This is a very challenging stretch. And by the way, if A&M does come out of it undefeated, I would expect they'd be sitting at Ohio State ain't going to lose. Miami probably isn't either. But because of strength of schedule, that Miami is only going to get worse from here, I think this football team might be sitting at number 2 in the country coming back home if they won these 3. I don't think that's much of a stretch at all.
No, and they would earn that ranking. That's the critical part. So,
yep.
I think Missouri, I think that's going to be the toughest test. I really do.
I do too.
I think LSU's a better environment. I think Missouri's a much better football team than LSU this year.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, I got to get your thoughts on the Cignetti extension, the 8 years, and what that means for Indiana. I think you tweeted that that might just be a little bit more for that Florida will pay for him.
Yeah. What is it? 11.6. I said, well, hell, all that tells me is Gators are going to gobble them up at $12 million a year. So, come on. I was just kidding with that. Gator fans, don't jump off a ledge here. You're not getting Curt Cignetti, but quite honestly, David, I think that's good for college football. When again, I'm going to shout out. I don't know if you guys ever have him on, Neil McCready, but. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of his work. Yep. I think he does a good job. And I've heard him, so I just want to credit him because I didn't invent this. But I think college football is different. We basically have to kind of start judging it from the COVID year because of the new rules, NIL, portal, and everything. I just think we're in a different landscape. Yeah. And that goes the same for A&M. Where like these stupid people are like, well, they can't win. They haven't won since 39 or whatever. That doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I think Ole Miss and Missouri, like it or not, since the time I'm talking, they're probably top 5 programs in the SEC. Now, does that mean they're going to be there annually? I'm not suggesting that, but I think with the rules and the landscape of college football, that's how you get in Indiana. And why go to Florida if you can just accomplish a lot of what you're trying to accomplish at Indiana? Again, I think it's good for the sport that if you're at a power school to not get your coach plucked. And now these idiots are saying, Mike Elko's from Jersey. Well, he go to Penn State. He's got a better job in Penn State. You know what I mean? So I think it's good for college football that you don't just get your coach yanked from you once you start to have success.
Yeah, I think, and I keep hearing people mention Elko. I heard a couple people nationally mentioning him, and they're all insinuating that they're privy to something. And look, I think people put too much stock sometimes into. I think people put too much stock sometimes into the agent game of telephone. What's it called? Yeah, I think they put too much stock into that. Those guys talk more than anyone else in college sports. They gossip, and they love calling, people at, national media outlets. They love reaching out to people at, like, whether it be On3 or SEC Network or anything national college football, because it's what they do. It's been my experience, Mike, that agents are the biggest gossipers in this industry. So any little thing that starts up, it goes around. I did see that Indiana did the Jimbo fully guaranteed thing, which surprised me. When I saw them do that number, I was like, why are they not getting ripped like A&M did with Jimbo? I go, well, it's probably because we did the ridiculous, fully guarantee. And then I find out they did it. I agree with you, though. It is nice to see people be able to hang on to those coaches. But I also think Penn State's going to run into this other reality because of what you're saying. Like, when A&M came open, it was all these names, right, that fans thought of. Well, they thought of Dan Lanning. Well, you can't hire Dan Lanning. And they thought of Ryan Day. Well, Ryan Day, like you said, he's got too good a job there. Jimbo left because that was a very unique circumstance, and it still had to depend on his relationship with Scott Woodward, or he wouldn't have left. It's rare nowadays. So, like, A&M ended up with a great choice in Mike Elko that has worked out terrifically for them. It's been a tremendous fit. But the pool they were really fishing in was Mike Elko, probably Jed Fish, other names that popped up that I don't think they would have hired, but were like Leipold at Kansas. Kleiman's name came up, who's not doing well at Kansas State. So that was more the pool, Mark Stoops, famously, than what you started off thinking. And that's the same thing that happened with Texas, whether they say it or not. That's how they landed on Sarkisian. That's how they landed on Herman and Strong, and A&M went and got Sumlin from U of H. That's far more common that happens than USC getting Lincoln Riley from OU, LSU getting Brian Kelly from Notre Dame. There has to be some really extenuating circumstance where the coach, I think, is uncomfortable or unhappy.
Right, and if I could throw out a name, and it's not Elko, I think there is an SEC coach that would jump for Penn State, and I think we got to watch this weekend, guys. I like Vanderbilt to beat LSU. How about Brian Kelly getting out of town before the angry mob comes for him?
Oh.
I think he's a much better fit up there at Penn State.
I do too, and I think he knows that, and I think that's why I got raked over the coals a couple of years ago.
Yep.
For saying I thought he wanted that Michigan job. And I know he did. And later on, a couple LSU people started reporting it that are very respectable and good at what they do, including our buddy Matt Moscona. And everybody claimed Matt was just getting that from me. I'm like, this guy is embedded in Baton Rouge. That's what he does. He knows infinitely more about that program than I ever will, which is kind of how I feel about anyone that talks A&M sports. That's how Matt is down there. And he doesn't say it because I said it. He says it because it's true. So with that said, I do think that's worth filing away. So you picked LSU.
I was going to say,
Vandy, I do too.
I'm picking Vandy in that. Mike, how come we're not hearing Drink's name or Clark Lee's name associated with some of these jobs?
Well, I would not be surprised if you do hear Clark Lee, but that guy is Vanderbilt through and through. And Vanderbilt's a unique school, certainly in the Southeastern Conference, but I think he's very close to Tim Corbin, the outstanding baseball coach, and Corbin's name every time it gets attached to something. Guess what? He gets a little something extra from Vanderbilt to stay. So I think that's the path you'll see. That's why I'm saying keep Clark Lee's name. I think it's going to be in there for a lot of coaching searches so that I don't think he'll leave Vanderbilt, but I think he'll get more each time this comes around, if that makes sense. But certainly Drink, I think that's one to watch. And I've said it before. I think he's going to be the next Florida coach. I really do.
I hadn't thought. I mean, I'd seen like one or two little speculation pieces there on that, but man, he'd be fun at Florida, wouldn't he? If you take that personality, go there, give him a bunch of talent, and I'm not saying he doesn't have it at Missouri, but like elevated what you can do at that historically is proven you can do at that place. And if he's got a team that can go out and start kicking people's ass, like I think he would be a fun. You know what I mean? Imagine that dude just knowing week in and week out, I've got the horses to back up everything I say, no matter who we play. That'd be fun. I'd like that.
In that scenario, does Lane stay at Ole Miss?
In that one?
I think over Florida, yeah, even though that seems to be bubbling up the more people I talk to. But I don't know. Lane's name always comes up, doesn't it? It's interesting how that always happens. But unless it's Bama or Texas, I think he's staying at Ole Miss. I really do.
Mike, I appreciate your time, man. Thanks very much.
Whoa. We didn't ask Mike what he thinks about this weekend.
Oh, okay, let's ask him about this weekend.
Did I miss that?
I don't know. Like every game or A&M?
Texas A&M and Arkansas.
Please, Mike, tell us your thoughts on A&M and Arkansas.
Yeah, I really think this is going to be a really fun game. Again, the road. I think the Aggies are overlooking how difficult this is going to be to go on the road in the Southeastern Conference. I know they got it done at Notre Dame. I know you were up there, Billy, but I don't respect Notre Dame as a home field environment. I respect Southeastern Conference stadiums as home field environments. So I think this is going to be an insane environment. This is Bobby P. trying to land the job. I was wildly impressed. If Arkansas doesn't turn the ball over last week, they beat Tennessee. I mean, I don't know if enough people realize that. Probably should have beaten Tennessee. I think perhaps the best offense in the Southeastern Conference is Arkansas. I like Bobby P. to ride again.
Wow.
To another close loss. A&M beats them 34-31.
Yeah, I agree in the fact that I think it's dangerous. I think it's going to be close. I will defend the Notre Dame environment, having been, around and throughout the SEC for the last now 14 years, believe it or not. That night, that was an SEC type environment. It was loud. It was energetic. It was kind of nonstop. I think, Mike, that had a lot to do with they were the defending national runners-up, playing their first home game. They'd lost one. They were desperate, and it was a night game, and just the way the game went. They blocked a punt for a touchdown after the first drive, and it was a wild shootout. So I think all that combined, the Notre Dame folks themselves said, everyone I talked to said that was as good an environment as they've ever had there. So I think that was an outlier. I agree with SEC, but that was hostile. It was tough. It was pressure packed. I think this will be a lot of the same. But yeah, I think A&M's just the better team. And I'll be honest with you, I know Arkansas came close to beating Ole Miss. I know they came close to beating Tennessee, and I know they came close to beating Memphis. And they probably should have beaten all three of those games. If you're sitting there in Fayetteville or in that coach's chair, you're going, we should have won all three. I'd be saying that. You'd be saying that if that was the Aggies. With that said, I think A&M, and going back to what you said, Mike, about through half a season, I think Texas A&M has been, through half a season, noticeably better football team than Tennessee. And I think they beat Memphis. And Ole Miss is another one that I'm not completely sold on. I think this is A&M is more like Notre Dame. Yeah. If you're looking at those teams' schedule in terms of being balanced. So we'll see. But I agree. I think it's a close game. I think the Aggies escape it.
Mike?
Watch out for Bobby P and them sunglasses. They'll get you, though.
They will. I'm telling you.
Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks very much for your
time.
time.
All right, man. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for being flexible.